Context in genealogy is essential. After all, our ancestors were more than just names and dates. To build context, we need to look beyond vital records and regular census records. And for those of us with ancestors in the southern United States, that includes looking at the 1850 and 1860 slave schedules. This is true whether you are researching white or black ancestors, because these records refer to both. Before I go on, I want to warn you about a trap that's easy to fall into. There's a common misconception that all of slavery was done on giant plantations, like the ones that you see in Gone with the Wind. But when you think of slavery that way, it's easy to fall into the trap of thinking that your white ancestors could not possibly have been a part of that. But according to data provided by Dr. Catherine McKay of Weber State University, those giant plantations with hundreds of enslaved persons were not the norm. For example, in 1860 Virginia, there were about 52,000 slaveholders. Of those, about 28,000 enslaved between 1 and 5 people. That's more than half. So be careful of falling into the trap of thinking, oh, my family was too poor to possibly have been slaveholders. Honestly, I used to think that about my ancestors, and boy, was I wrong. So what are the 1850 and 1860 slave schedules? They're part of the federal census. As the census was being conducted, the enumerators in the slaveholding states gathered data about the people who were enslaved. Quick note about Virginia. These schedules include the counties that later split off and formed West Virginia. These schedules include the name of the slaveholder, the age, sex, and color of the person being enslaved, as well as notes about deafness, blindness, and mental disabilities. There are also columns to record fugitives, as well as those who had been manumitted in the year ending June 1st. The 1860 slave schedule also gives a column for the number of slave houses. What's missing from these schedules are the names of the persons being enslaved. At first, these records can be a little confusing to read because the first line combines the name of the slaveholder with one of the enslaved persons. Here is part of the 1850 slave schedule from Franklin County, Virginia. Here, Samuel Dillon is reported as the slaveholder with a 50-year-old black female, a 22-year-old black male, and a 40-year-old black female. Chloe Dillon is recorded as being the slaveholder of a 25-year-old black man. Chloe Dillon also happens to be my 5th great-grandmother. Samuel is her son. When researching enslaved ancestors, these schedules can feel so frustrating because they don't have the names. But these schedules do give us context about the community. And if you have an idea about the name of the slaveholder, it can give you more information about them. So that brings up the question, how do you know that that person named on the slave schedule is the person that you're thinking of? How do I know that the Chloe Dillon on this slave schedule is the same as my Chloe Dillon and not someone with the same name? The key is that this information was given at the same time as the regular part of the census, and the households are going to be listed in the same order. Looking at this schedule from Franklin County, Virginia, there is Samuel Dillon, Chloe Dillon, Susanna Arrington, and Mary Poindexter. Now let's go to the population schedule, or the regular part of the 1850 census for Franklin County, Virginia. Here's Samuel Dillon. Next door is Chloe Dillon. 3 households down are Susanna Ashworth and Amelia Arrington. I suspect that these 2 names got combined on the slave schedule. 3 houses down from them is Mary Poindexter. I know that Chloe Dillon in the 1850 census, the regular part of it, is my Chloe Dillon. Comparing where she is with her neighbors in the regular part of the census, I feel confident that the Chloe Dillon listed in the 1850 slave schedule is also my Chloe Dillon. You don't want to stop your research with just the slave schedules. There are so many records to explore for our Southern ancestors. And this video here explains a group of records that is often overlooked but contains a ton of information. So go check that out. Until next time, I hope that you're making discoveries about your family history.